Well, first, everybody thought we were going to be in all black today, mourning, celebrating the wonderful time we had throughout the regular season with the Nets, and it was all over, but we're still in black and white right now. I'm telling you right now, I was nervous last night. It wasn't pretty, Nick Wilds. I mean, they were cold. You got Joe Harris, who couldn't hit the side of the backboard. KD even started off cold. I was nervous. They went down, 15 points at times, and at half, big deficit. And then all the second half. Second half came out, man, and they lit it up. They did a phenomenal job. Look, KD did exactly what he was supposed to do. Yesterday, a lot of us was talking about how he at least has to drop 40, 45 points. Look, I was a little conservative. I thought he needed to drop 50, but I didn't want to go all the way out there on a limb. So I was like, 45 is what we need from KD. And he came through when his team needed him in the biggest moment. Having James Harden out there, I felt like was a sigh of relief for KD to go out there, man, and just fight through. And like he said, take it one possession at a time. Because you can see, like most players in those situations in the first quarter, second quarter, when things aren't going your way, you can see them start pouting. You can see them start bickering and arguing. They didn't do that. They took it one possession at a time. And these are the type of moments for KD where when everyone knows you're going to shoot the ball and you still produce, where you go from superstar to Mount Rushmore superstar. And this game can go down depending on how this ends as the game that KD solidified himself as the best player on the planet, like Giannis said.
Well, Brandon, the only thing you said there that I'll disagree with is you said everyone knew he was going to shoot. I don't think Bud knew he was going to shoot. Someone should have told him, hey, Budenholzer, they're going to go to KD. But we'll talk more about that in a moment. You guys joke that I'm an amateur NBA historian. There are some benefits to that, though. The context for last night is quite simple. It's not only the greatest game of Kevin Durant's career by far. The only thing that comes close is Game 3 of the 2018 Finals, but this outstrips that by a couple standard deviations. It's one of the greatest playoff games any wing, including Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, the Mount Rushmore of wings in the NBA, at least as of this moment, has played. What Durant did last night was everything. And people might focus on the 49 points, which is the second most he's ever had in a playoff game, or the 17 rebounds, which is the second most he's ever had in a playoff game, or the 10 assists, which is the most he's ever had in a playoff game. I'm going to focus on a different number, 48. For Kevin Durant to play every single second of that basketball game and to be going all out on both ends was one of the most remarkable physical accomplishments I've ever seen in the NBA. This man is a couple years removed from the single worst injury a basketball player can suffer. And all he did last night was shoot flames out his eyeballs when his team needed every single possession. I mentioned Larry Bird and Kobe Bryant. Neither one of those guys ever had a playoff game as good as this one. Larry had a couple unbelievable Game 7s. The 87 conference finals against Isaiah and the Pistons probably stands out to most. Durant was better than that last night. Kobe's 50-point overtime performance against Phoenix when they made the playoffs without Shaq after Shaq had left. A lot of you, that's an iconic Kobe performance. Durant was better than that last night. And Wilds, for the entire world to know, the Nets have one way to win. Kevin Durant has to play a 10 out of 10 game. And he delivered a 12 out of 10. It is what makes you start, and I'm not trying to get us on this path immediately, but it does make you say, all right, Durant versus Bird, let's look at it. Durant versus Kobe, let's start looking at it. Those are going to be real conversations that can be had over the next few years. And this performance, this is what I was saying the other day, he didn't have anything to lose, but he had a ton to gain. because he had this in him, and we saw it last night. It was a perfect basketball game. Perfect.
It was amazing. Well said, well said. I want to show you a handful of tweets, Nick, and get your reaction on a take that I think we need to address. Here's LeBron. Greatness. Appreciate it while you can, people. Kevin Love. Greatness from KD. Incredible performance in CJ. Wow, KD. This is art. Real life poetry in motion. And I want to focus on CJ's thing, because I reject the idea that questioning Bud's defense takes anything away from KD, because it wasn't art. This is a competition. No one's like, you know what? That canvas really needed to step up and play a better game against the Mona Lisa. That doesn't happen. There was a competition. Everybody knows KD was the only offensive weapon. Bud could not stop him. They didn't throw double teams at him. Giannis didn't go to him. They didn't do anything to stop him. It was just P.J. Tucker, a few rotations, but it was KD raining down fire. So, Nick, I guess my question to you is this. Do you question Bud's decision-making moving forward when knowing going into this game that the Nets have one way to beat you? And the Nets came out and executed a very basic game plan, let KD cook, and it worked.
Listen, I know we're going to get to the Bud and Giannis part more in depth later. Yeah, I question every single thing that Mike Budenholzer did. I question Darvin Ham not pulling a Crimson Tide and going mutiny on Coach Budenholzer, locking him in in a closet and taking over the game. But I want to say something else about Durant, because this is, Brandon, and I want your take on this, because as an athlete, I think guys got angry. I think athletes sympathized more with Durant than guys in my position when he was getting all the criticism for picking Golden State. And then going to Brooklyn, he has Kyrie, and then helping orchestrate the trade for Harden. I think last night helps illustrate why basketball fans, in an odd way, hated those moves. Because you, as a fan of sports, or a fan of anything, you like to see the overmatched hero try to defeat all odds. You like to see John McClane and Die Hard against 11 different guys. And it was exciting and fun to see Steph this year. Like, overmatched, outgunned, go do your thing.
It's good take.
LeBron is last year in Cleveland. And I think last night almost validates, in a weird way, why people were so frustrated with KD previously. Because as fans, we want to see this. And he didn't have to do this prior. But we knew he could.
Good take.
And it was really special, Brandon, for him to, when he hadn't been asked to do this in years, to pull it out on a moment's notice the way he did last night.
Right. I mean, you're preaching there, but when you go back to Golden State, I think guys was frustrated with him because they just beat you. You were up 3-1, so how do you go join the team that just beat you? And then you fast forward to Brooklyn. I think people supported that move, and they supported him, teaming up with Kyrie, because that was the trend. That's what the NBA is all about now. But you're 100% right. Like, I'm more old school than this era. I want to see this type of defense being played, not only in the playoffs, but all year. I want to see guys playing harder. I want to see guys, earning it and being tougher. And I'm like you. Yeah, I want to see our superstars have to deliver every single night, 100%. But Wiles, before we go, I want to push back on you as far as Bud. I think that's unfair. Like, think about what they did well into the third. They controlled this whole game. They were up at halftime, and my numbers may be off. What was it, 15 points
16.
at half? What do you want him to do? 16 points at half? What do you want Coach Bud to do? You got Joe Harris, who missed 19 out of the last 23 threes. You got, thank the basketball gods for Uncle Jeff Green, who came in and he lit it up. Only missed 1 3. Was he 7 for 8? Right? But even KD didn't do anything in the first quarter. And then you got James Harden. James Harden was out there just being a decoy, and everybody knew it after the first possession. So then you get into the second half, and then this is what KD did. And this is why we're going to celebrate him in these conversations that Nick alluded to will start for the next couple years.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.